Hey guys, I don't know if anybody's there. Let me see if the links work. I've been on for a minute or two. YouTube is going strong. Come on through Facebook. Okay, there we go. All right, it looks like we're going out live to all of my supported social media sources. How are you guys? What's going on? Ugh, my hair. Oh, wrong way. Wrong way again. Jesus. Whatever. She's old. What can she do? Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's quarantine. So, hey, Mary Clunan, how are you, dear? Good. I know I have one viewer. Mary's here. Hey, Mary. What's going on, you guys? Sunday night, so I thought I'd get on. Lots of changes have been happening for me. Oh, God, I just scratched the shit out of my arm. A lot of stuff has been happening for me. Changes. All, I think, for the good, for the better. We'll see as they go, as they move forward. Big things have shifted, but it is Sunday night, so I wanted to get on and make charmings or readings available. Make a little coin, as they say. Or if any of my Patreon subscribers are out there and you have not collected your April charming, you can get a reading or a charming. It depends, whichever you prefer. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you're entitled to one a month at the highest level. So you just have to call out to me through the interwebs and say, Dan, I'm ready. Tell me my future. Damn it. And if not, anybody who wants to buy a reading can certainly go ahead and do so. God, these glasses are filthy. Almost as dirty as my mind. And other than that, that's it. I'm just here hanging out. We can just chat if you want, or we can do readings. We can talk about your lives. We can talk about mine. My dog's ear is disgusting. I could show you how gross my dog's ear is if you guys want to see. It's really gross. It's like a big, wide. Do you guys want to see it? I'll show you. Well, I don't know if I should show it on video. It's kind of disgusting. It's so sad. I had to dope her up. She's on stuff called gabapentin, but she was scratching it the other day, and she made it worse. She caught it with her back paw while I was in training, and she yanked down the hole that was there as a drainage hole in the back of her ear and just shredded it. So it's almost like a 4-inch open wound on the back of her ear, and the doctor wants it to stay open so that her ear can drain, but she's got it's a whole mess. Anyways, I don't want to talk about it. If anybody's brave enough to want to see it, raise your hand. I'll take the camera in there. If not, you can thank me later for not showing it to you. And if not, if nobody wants to do anything, we can just sit here in silence, sort of meditate. Or if anybody has any questions for me, I'll answer them. We can have questions with Dan time, whatever you want. It's up to you guys. But let me grab my little Patreon list of folks, the people that support me over on Patreon. Let me grab that one moment. Okay, I'm back. Hey, Tammy Sylvester, how are you, dear? You feel like you made the wrong move, Mary? You mean to Reno? Karen Stringer wants to know, how did I get started doing tarot? Okay, let's put that question up on the board. Let's show that. Probably when I was 15 or 16. I can't remember the first time I actually saw a deck, but I was introduced to it in my high school years. I don't remember. It was probably a Rider-Waite deck. And I just started playing around with it. The minute I saw them, I kind of thought I was intrigued by them. And I kind of felt like I had known them, if that makes any sense. And I just started seeing I started learning it, just reading the books and figuring things out. A lot of it was, I worked with a deck that you can't get anymore called the Roehrig deck for a big chunk of time in like my late teens, early 20s. That was very much not Rider-Waite based. It was very much about me using my intuition. And I think there was where I learned to sort of trust my intuition over the cards, like basically how I learned to create a dialogue with the cards or sense of feelings, my empathic nature with the cards. And then, you know, I've always sort of studied Rider-Waite in that symbology and kind of gone back and forth. And then now, like, I work with different decks, and sometimes, you know, it's not about the deck, it will be about the art and what it's making me feel versus what the actual traditional meaning is. It kind of ebbs and flows, you know, and I just sort of trust. One thing I did do too in the middle of all of that, back in, I want to say, like, I don't know, 2005, 2006, I was in a 2-year clairvoyant training program where we meditated and learned these sort of clairvoyant practices in San Francisco. And that also taught me, or I learned how to trust my information or how I was receiving information versus, you know, worrying about, is this right? Is this wrong? And I still do that with mediumship, not so much with tarot. I'm not afraid of the cards or what I feel. I can pretty much trust that. Hey, Dorothy Baxter. The Chunkies are in the house. Yes, they are. Sean Cyclone says, hey, Dan, I'm all for Q&A with Damn It Daniel today. Sean's soon to be a roommate, guys. That's another big change that's happening. You'll see him on YouTube right now. He's actually en route to come here. He's going to be staying here with me. So that will be a different change that's changing. I start a new job tomorrow. And then Sean will be moving in. There's a lot of big changes. Hey, Vicky, how are you? Q&A. Everybody's hot for the Q&A. Well, we can have a Q&A. We don't have to do readings. It's whatever you guys want. By the way, Vicky, you sent over some money, so I'm assuming you're going to reach out to me as far as readings. Because I noticed that I got a payment from you 2 days ago. And so I just assume you'll reach out to me when you're ready. Just kind of affirm that for me. Mary, why are you feeling... I just noticed that I put that's affirmative up there. I'm unsure why you're worried about Reno, Mary. Hey, Nancy, how are you, dear? Can he work it like a cyclone? I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I need a roommate, not a bedfellow. Trust, Miss Tammy. We know how strange bedfellows can get, right? No, I'm just kidding. No, he's coming out here because he just wants to start a new life, I think. And I need a roommate to help with bills. So, and it wouldn't hurt to have a friend around. He's also very much into metaphysics and stuff. Who knows? Maybe he'll come through the fourth wall and end up on camera. He also wants to learn tarot a little bit more. He works mainly with oracle decks. So he was talking about that the other day. So it should be fun. It's just I don't know. So we're seeing what the universe, being open to what the universe throws at us, kind of thing. Haha, yes, ma'am. I can work it like a cyclone. I can work it all night long. Oh my God. It's starting to sound like what's that song? All night long. Yeah, you shook me. You used to hear it at every carnival. Like, I can't think of the name of it. But anyways. So it's not so good carrying it all alone. It's hard, Mary. It's hard to carry it alone. It's very hard. Judy Cologne Divine says, so cool. I think it's great. It'll definitely be different. It will be interesting, to say the least. Cyclone is a song, and I just said the lyrics. Is that the name of the song? You shook me all night long? I thought that was something else. I can't. It makes me think of a carnival. Like, I used to hear that song when I was a kid at carnivals. And you shook me all night long. Like it's some sort of hairband song. It is what it is. I tried. Uh-oh. Problems with the kids? So Is that what's going on, Mary? Sean's last name is Cyclone also because he's very much, and I don't mean that like doo-doo like crazy. He just kind of goes, he and I, we have this discussion every so often. He changes his mind quite quickly. So I haven't said this to him, but I'll say it now. I understand why his last name is Cyclone, because he's like, one minute he's coming to Texas, next minute he's not. Next minute he's coming, next minute he's not. He says he's in Texas at this point. We'll be here tomorrow, but we'll see. He'll be here, but I'm just teasing him. AC/DC, yes, thank you. It's like a famous song. Totally makes me think of like the carnival. Because like my little like white trash butt was all like hanging out on the tilt-a-whirl. I used to love that shit. All right. She needs to speak her truth and they won't let her. Never fun. That's interesting too, because we've been seeing, what was that card? Is she right here? No, that's tomorrow's card. Damn it. Where's that card? That card with the lady with the white that we've been seeing with the light on the daily, Mary? The fifth ray of intellectual knowledge. Where is she? Are you feeling like her? Hold on, let me find her really quick. She's that one that has that zombie all around her. Hey, Andrew. How you doing, girlfriend? Vicky, did you have a question about something about... You said something about sorcerer, Vicky. Did you have a question? Anybody can ask a question if you want. We can have this just be a Q&A, whatever you want to talk about. Although, anybody watching the new season of Top Chef? So good. I just started watching it today, and I was enjoying it. I can read her. Exhausted. My thing is this lady here. I feel like that might be you, because we've been seeing her a lot this month, and you see all those pissed off zombies around her? Like, and she's the fifth ray of intellectual knowledge. Sorry if that's backwards to you guys. I don't know if my camera's displaying correctly to you guys, but we've seen this card. I swear to God, like maybe 3 times this month so far, and we're just now at the halfway part of the month, which is a lot for one card. It keeps showing up. Maybe this is some of your energy, right? Where she's kind of telling the truth or needing to tell her truth or living in her truth, and those around her don't want to live by that same truth. Does that make sense? So they're a little bit resentful, angry. They want to stay stuck in sort of the past, the zombie past. Yes, what position does it play, like compared to the magician or the empress? So who's the sorcerer? Hey, Stephen David Olson, how are you? I'm well. I hope you're well too. You binge watch Schitt's Creek. That's a pretty funny show. I think that is you, Mary, and I think that it's okay. And I know that you're feeling down, but here's the thing. Don't let it get you down, because it's not going to help the situation if you get upset over it, right? That's the part where so much has gone on for so long within these relationships between you and your children that right now every attempt that you've made has been an attempt in good faith and with love. So you can take heart in the fact that that's what you've attempted to do, right? But how they receive it, unfortunately, we can't control that. We can't be responsible for whether they choose to receive it or not, right? Or whether they choose to understand it or not. But you have to know your truth, even if your truth isn't something that they say they agree with or understand or appreciate, unfortunately. Hey, Kat. It's been a long time, I know. Hey, Christine Van Langen, how are you? What do you mean? No, Vicky, tell me, don't say never mind. Who's the sorcerer is what I'm wondering. You paid for a reading for her? Okay. You didn't have to do that, Tammy, but let me see. Do you have a particular deck you want, Mary? I can do Rider Waite. I can do the deck that you sent over. Tammy got the ex's address, LOL. Thank you, Tammy, for paying for her. I do appreciate that. And Vicky, I want to know your question. Or you know what? You can send it to me if you don't feel comfortable asking it in the chat. You can send it to me and I can answer it that way too. Like you can either email me or direct message me on Facebook or whatever if you don't feel. You want the one you sent? Okay, perfect. I thought that's what you were going to say, but I just wanted to make sure. And that's not me trying to be psychic. I just kind of had a feeling that that would be an appropriate deck since you sent it to me. But and everybody here in the room, for those of you that watch the dailies, let's thank Mary and Vicky. They sent both of the decks for this month. Vicky sent us this beautiful deck, which I am loving more and more and more, this Lightworker Oracle deck. And you guys too, I'm noticing when I'm reading these invocations at the end of these cards, there's some powerful words. Like I thought about that during today's reading that you'll see tomorrow in the morning. I was thinking like I should be telling you guys to say the words along with me. Like I should almost be reading them slower because some of these invocations about like, I call the Archangel Raphael in, da, 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 da. It's like some serious stuff. When I find myself reading it in the morning, I'm like, wow, I feel really empowered from these readings. So you guys might want to play it back and recite with me in the morning from your own home and see if that has any sort of a positive effect. Because I feel like, honestly, there's been some positive effects that have happened since we started working with these decks. I'm not so sure it's not this damn Lightworker Oracle. It's kind of, you know, like I have a new roommate coming, I have a new job starting. There's a lot of big changes that are happening. My dog's ear, not so good, but that will get better. I keep praying to the Archangel Raphael. He's the angel of healing. I'm like, please fix her ear. So, and then we can thank Mary for this deck. This is the other deck that we're using. This is the tarot deck. This is the Light Seers Tarot, which I've waited for a long time for. And so she sent this over to us so that we could enjoy this. So thank you so much for that, Mary. I did pick them. Thank you, Vicky. I did pick them, but because of you, I have them. And I think that you sending them over at the right time has been very wonderful. So thank you for all of you and everything that you do. Like Tammy, everybody, you all know what you do. You know, there's some of you that aren't even here. Karen, Beth, I don't think she's here tonight, but she's usually here every morning. There's Jen Nichols, like a lot of wonderful people that like support me. So I appreciate all of you. Marita and Rose. You know, there's a bunch of you. All right, so let's get into this and see what's going on. I'm going to switch cameras and see what's going on. Let me go to, where's the Brio? Is the Brio not hooked up anymore? Excuse me? OBS virtual, where's my Brio? Hold on 1 second. Why, there's front, rear. What's IR camera front? Oh, that's weird. Oh God, that's creepy. What, I update, oh, that's really creeperama. Oh my God, that's sketchy. OBS virtual camera, no, I don't want that either. Why does that not have, I had to, hold on 1 second, guys. Scheiße. What is this? Let me see. Hey, Anne-Marie Palladino, how are you? I updated my system this morning because it would not let me record the video for tomorrow. Oh, there it goes. I just had to replug in the Brio. Dumb. Oh, no, okay. All right, here we go. So this is that book I was telling you about that goes with those cards. So let's get this off the screen. Let's get these cords out of the way. Let's make it look like we're at least semi-tidy, Dan. Let's kind of fix this a little bit. Let's move these up here. Get them out of the way. All right. So Mary, I'm assuming we're reading about sort of your relationship to you and the kids. Is that what we want to see? Just give me a yes or no. or a subject line if you want, Mary. Also, just grant me permission, which I know I always have permission with you, but just say, yes, you have permission. Yes, there's that yes. Thank you. Let's see. Did Mary make a mistake where she went by going to Reno? Because that's what you said. You said you felt like it was a mistake or that you had done the wrong thing. But I truly believe that it's not. But we will see what the card said. Let's see here. It's funny, as I'm shuffling these cards, Mary, the way that they're coming together, they're kind of coming together nicely. They do feel a little heavy, right? That's whatever's going on right now. They're not, but they kind of snap together at the end. It's this weird sort of like, it's hard to explain, but when they do that, where I feel like they just kind of snap right back together, it makes me feel like I want to say to you that I know that things are tough right now. Things might be emotionally heavy. It might be a little bit of a push right now, but something will shift, something will change. It will come together because they just snap together. I know that sounds strange. My teacher, my mediumship teacher, wants me to start to do a tarot course because I will get feelings even off of how the cards shuffle. Like sometimes the cards won't come together at all, or but with this, I feel like, yes, there's a heaviness. Yes, there's some things that need to be worked through, but don't give up hope. Things will snap back into place or get better. This is just years in the making, right? So let's see where we're at. So I want to do this for you. We have the 9 of Cups. We have the 10 of Pentacles. And we have the Fool. So this is where you're at, right? The 9 of Cups would indicate sort of being emotionally secure, in a state of freedom and well-being. I feel like this was your focus and still should continue to be your focus. There's some sort of burden that hopefully you're releasing through this process, even though it may not feel that way right now, right? It might feel heavy. It could feel emotionally strenuous. It's a lot of work right now. You might feel like you're not getting anywhere. But ultimately, this is a very interesting depiction of the 9 of Cups too, because she's standing over this treasure chest and she's like sort of leaping out, right? And let me hold it up close. She's, there's a freedom, like she's unburdened, right? The traditional visual for this is a gentleman sitting down, squat with his arms in front of his chest, in front of 9 cups, but everything's in order emotionally, right? And I think that the intention here was this beautiful sort of idea of not only you becoming free, but kind of going to Reno, reconnecting with the family, doing those sort of things was about bringing that freedom not only for yourself, but also for them too, right? And sort of opening the new door. We see that new door in the Fool, right? We always know that the Fool is new beginnings. And this is in your higher self space. So to me, this was about being open-minded, not allowing the past to dictate to you what the reality was, being open to like your heart, your spirit, your drive, new avenues, maybe even being like, right now it might feel because things aren't working out that you are being stupid or naive, or it's coming down on you. You might come down on yourself a little bit, but don't. This is the beginning of a new journey that's happening for you, a new way of relating to the family. Allow it to shift and change, right? The reason why all of this is because in the past here, or what is the foundation to this may not necessarily be the past, but I feel like what is the foundation here is the 10 of Pentacles. And look there's a happy family right there. 10 of Pentacles would indicate like material wealth. Material wealth can be money and finances, jobs and things like that, but material wealth can also be like the relationships we keep or the bonds that we maintain and take care of. So when I look at these three cards together, this is an extremely positive run of cards, Mary. Like your intentions were pure and good. We see that purity in all three of these cards, right? The purity of the love of the family, the purity of the emotional wealth and freedom of the Nine of Cups, and the purity of the optimism and the strength of the Fool, in the sense that keeping an open mind and wanting something bigger, better for the greater whole and the collective is sort of what you wanted. And what I mean by collective is I'm talking about you and your family members, right? So I'm going to do this slightly different than I normally do. I'm going to now shuffle again for them. And this is going to be because I don't do third party readings. So I'm just going to do the family as a whole. I'm not reading any one particular member. So this could be, you know, your kids, your ex, it could be all of them. I'm just sort of reading the energy of the family unit right now, where they're at, what they're doing. So their center is the Eight of Swords. Look at that, complete and total utter bondage. I just want to show you this because this is what I love about tarot, guys, because this is when the cards fucking speak to me and it's like I don't even need to do anything. Do you see how free this woman is? Do you see how she's releasing her cups into the air? She's jumping, she's starting a new day, a new dawn, like the Fool. Look at this. The center here, this woman is in bondage. Do you see the difference of where these two parties meet? I don't even have to say anything. That's powerful shit right there. Excuse my language. All right, so what I'm going to say about the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is an energy of being stuck. But the truth about the Eight of Swords is that we're not really as stuck as we believe that we are. Swords is the element of the mind, or the air element, right? So it can be our thoughts, and it can be our negative thinking. It can be stuck in the past. Whatever it is, this woman feels trapped. If you look at the particular art in this card, she's seeing herself in a mirror, all tied up by these crows, right? She's like locked in. For me, this is sort of maybe the past, or the memories, the thoughts, the recollections of the past holding people where they are, right? And I'm not talking about any specific person in your family, just maybe some of the family members that you might be struggling with. So let's look at where their foundation's at. So we have the Four of Wands. That's not a bad foundation. And then we have for them the Empress. Interesting. That's a really beautiful I feel like this is your daughter, to be honest, like seeing that Empress and the Four of Wands. I feel like the intention here, well, hold on. I feel like actually you both want the same thing. There's just something that's holding her back here in the center. I feel like there's something that from the past that she can't seem to let go of or forgive you for. But I do want to say this. I don't think that it's over yet, Mary. I will say that. I will say that this Empress to me almost feels like in some ways, the Empress counterbalancing the Fool. It feels like in some ways she's had to be the parent and you've had to be the child in some way. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that that might be some of the roles that have been played between the two of you over the years, where the roles have been reversed at times. And that's not a bad thing. It's just how it's played out. And so she's self-sufficient now, right? The Empress to me is self-sufficiency at its finest, right? That sort of female power, fertility, creativity, all of that sort of abundance, everything is there. And it's interesting to me too, because she sort of feels like she's turning her back on you a little bit. Let me just look. I want to shuffle through two cards that. All right, so I'm going to slide this over for one moment. And her Four of Wands to me down here in her foundation is not a bad card either, because this can be like signify soulmates, definitely strong bonds, spiritual bonds at that. I like this coupled to the Ten of Pentacles. I like that both of you have very strong ideals for this relationship. Both of you are tied and do have high-minded ideals for this relationship, but how you're both going at it or looking at it are opposite, and how you're both maybe perceiving each other is opposite in a way. So I'm going to do 2 cards over here for you. We have the Hanged Man and we have the 2 of Wands. I want to slide this over just a little bit more. I'm going to do 2 cards for her. The Hanged Man would indicate feeling stuck, feeling trapped, feeling emotional, waiting for something to come into your awareness that is going to bring about enlightenment and is going to bring about awareness, Mary. This is outside of you, right? This is an outside influence to you. But it's like, this might be exactly where you need to be, where you're feeling a little bit, how do I want to say this? Like you're feeling a little bit not able to get where you want to go just yet. There's something that you have to learn. It's going to be something profound. It's going to be of a deeply spiritual nature. It's probably going to be extremely emotional. But once you learn it, I think then you're able to move forward. This is sort of also similar to the 8 of Swords over here, except the 8 of Swords is more set in the past, where this is more in the now. This is also, like I said, an outside influence. So something that's maybe coming towards you, which could be the situation and not being able to manage the situation, say with these family members, because they're not allowing you sort of off the hook. But some of this Hanged Man energy is the hook is also somewhat, I don't want to say it belongs to you, but kind of like you've been put there for a reason. There's something you need to learn. There's something you need to see. There's something, once you become aware of it, you'll be smarter because of it. There will be a benefit to this, right? The other card on the opposite side is the 2 of Wands. Again, the 2 of Wands is like sort of looking to create what we desire and how, right? But this 2 of Wands to me, although she's generally there's a 2 of Wands with a man and he's standing on a hillside holding a globe in his hand, right? Like looking out over at the ocean, like an expectation, kind of trying to decide. The 2 and the 3 of Wands can be a lot about expectation or sort of deciding where we want to be and how we want to get there. To me, she's seated in this card, if you look. So again, there's sort of this feeling of, I know what I want. I want to create this. I want this bond. I want this back. Right? But I don't know how to go about getting myself like out of this room or getting myself into this connection again. The Wands indicates that idea of spirit, fire, that desire, right? That want for connection. And it mirrors her 4 of Wands that's down here, right? She also, I believe, if we're just talking solely about your daughter, I believe she seeks and has sought this connection for a long time. But do we know about how to go about getting it? I feel like it might be hard because there might be a little bit of ego in the way for both of you, right? It's not necessarily a one-sided thing. Now, her outside influences, right? The things that sort of she's looking at around her. One is the 3 of Cups, which is about coming together, celebration, definite feminine bonding card, right? There's an opportunity for her and you to maybe have healing, come together in a right way, really explore being like friends, family, and have that love again. But on the other side, she's conflicted, and this might be why she's trapped in the middle of this, is she has the 9 of Wands on the other side, and that is usually an indicator of, it can be an indicator of sort of battle-weary wisdom, right? Having been through many a fight, many an argument, many a, and I'm not talking about arguments with you necessarily. It could be just the hardness of her life and what she's been through, even if you've not been a part of it. That could be a reminder for her or an influence for her where it's like, I don't know if I can take on that sort of hurt. It's like, to me, how do I want to say this? Like the 9 of Wands can be a very empowered card, but it can also be a card that it signifies like, I don't want to do this anymore because I've been hurt too many times, right? Or I need to draw this boundary because I've learned from previous battles, previous arguments, previous fights that it may get me nowhere kind of thing. And so with this, I think that she's very strong. When I look at all of these cards around her, probably as strong-willed as you, if not more so. But I do also see that there is a desire in her to be connected. There is a desire in her. This Empress card too, which is like the epitome of motherhood, right? In her higher self, to me feels like there's a desire in her to have this connection with you, even if you guys are fighting at this time or you're not communicating well. There's certainly a desire within you too, but I feel like she may not be able to trust it fully yet, right? So let's look at where are we operating from our highest good? Where do we both come together? I'm going to place a card here and here for our highest and our lowest vibe, right? So like when we're acting from a place of high vibration, where are we coming from? And this is for both of you. What do we need to know to be in our highest vibration? This is the Two of Cups. Beautiful. Like, can't be any more self-explanatory than that. And then in our lowest vibration, where are we operating from? In our lowest vibration, when we come together, where are we operating from? Because these two cards are going to show us where and how we're sort of communicating. In our lowest vibration is the Hermit. So somebody's withdrawing, pulling away, stalemating, not talking. The Hermit's not necessarily a bad card though, right? The Hermit can be strong. It's almost like, how do I want to say this? Okay, first off, let's go back up to this Two of Cups. Coming together in our highest vibe, right? When the Fool and the Empress, these are your higher selves, right? Both major arcana, both very strong female presences, both, have their own sort of set of rules, obligations, feelings, all of that, right? Very powerful cards in your higher self, equals in match, right? For real. Like most people would say, oh, the Fool doesn't match up to the Empress because the Fool does. He's like the beginning of the journey. We don't even get to the Empress unless we have the Fool, right? It's just a different way of perceiving things or looking at things, right? When I see this Two of Cups, this is you guys coming together and loving each other for who you are as you are now versus holding yourselves accountable for the past, for stuff that's going on. This is like the Empress, your two higher selves coming together and trying to appreciate each other as best you can. With this lower vibration is the Hermit. This is about maybe withdrawing, not necessarily going inward and trying to find the answers from within, not communicating very clearly, protecting oneself maybe more so out of fear or worry that, you might, and this is for both sides of the coin here, right? So I'm not saying it's you doing this, I'm not saying it's her doing this, but you guys could be retreating from one another in an effort to maybe not cause any more pain or hurt for the other party, or you both could be doing the same behavior. But it's a question here of, do we come together in love and emotion and be sort of free and honest and appreciate each other and be equals, treat each other as equals, or do we hide in the dark in a way, right? We will learn stuff from the Hermit. Even if we pull away and retract, there will still be spiritual awareness and learning in this relationship for both parties, but will it be easy? Not necessarily. Let's look at the outcome. And again, my outcomes are always not set in stone. So if this is something we don't like, we can use it as a warning right now to make choices and changes in our lives to affect the outcome so that it doesn't have to come to pass. Do I think this is a mistake? I don't. But let me see. I'm going to pull one more card for that very question. So the outcome is the Sun, which was yesterday's card for the beginning of the day. Girl, you're okay. You guys are going to be okay. You have to believe that you're going to be okay. You have to believe that, I know that your intentions are good, Mary. I know that. Like I can see that in your cards. There's a purity, there's an honesty here that maybe didn't exist years before, right? And what we've got going on here on this side of the coin is that there's somebody here that maybe only knows the Mary that was from years before, right? And so they're going off of that, and they're going off of the memories of having dealt with that, or the pain of that, or whatever that brought up for them. And they have a lot that they feel as though they might be risking by potentially maybe letting you back in, if that makes sense. Because the pregnancy of the Empress too, I know that you've mentioned to me that your daughter has a child, your grandson, and all of that sort of stuff. So there's that going on too, where I feel like she does feel a bit protective over that. She doesn't necessarily want you to come in and maybe, and I'm not saying that you would, I'm just saying some of her concerns may be that she doesn't want those things to get uprooted or be at risk of getting hurt like maybe she was in the past. But she does feel open with this Three of Cups and this Four of Wands to a relationship with you. She's not completely closed off. And so there's something over here that once you figure it out, you will know how to move forward. You've just got to figure it out. Will you figure it out? Yes. The Sun indicates a big, fat, firm yes. I'm just going to pull one more card. Was going to Reno a mistake for Mary? Sun also, brings clarity to situations. It's always an affirmative card. It's always about sort of the light shining at the end of the day. This is the Seven of Wands. So Seven of Wands, I don't believe that this is a mistake. Do you see how this woman is seated in a glass bubble, kind of meditating, keeping her gaze to the side versus to the Seven Wands that are pointing at her? The Seven of Wands always indicates standing one's ground, right? Going to Reno was the daring choice, I'm going to say. It was the choice that puts you up for public consumption, for potential critique, for feelings of the past to come at you, right? Are you strong enough to deal with that? Yes, that's what the Seven of Wands says. Is it always going to be easy? Not necessarily, but we have to remain centered in who we are now today, not who we were in the past, even if people want to take us back there through their memories and their past pain. I'm not saying that, how do I want to say this? How do I want to put this? Like, their past pain isn't, it's not that it's not valid, but it's also in the past, right? And so you can only do what you can do from the now. You can only sort of control your actions and from this point forward, if that makes any sense. And I really do believe, looking at these cards here, that your intentions are pure. They're set in the right sort of motives, and the opportunity is here where you want to grow, but you don't necessarily feel as though you can right now. You will be able to, though. You just have to trust the process. Is this process going to be easy? Not necessarily. Are you going to feel judged, ridiculed, critiqued? Probably, with the Seven of Wands sitting up there. But the question is does this relationship matter enough for you to do it? Are you strong enough? Certainly. Look, this woman is centered. She's sort of protecting her own self in her bubble as these wands are pointed at her, right? Maybe trying to tell her who they think she is or whatever. And that's not who she is today. And so there's an opportunity also to kind of live in this reality of who we are versus who we are remembered to be. And that's kind of the significance, I think, of this trip. I don't think it's a mistake at all. I think that the Seven of Wands could indicate why it would feel like a mistake, Mary. Why it would feel like you're not being warmly received, why it would feel like you're being challenged. But the truth is that both of you need to come at this from your highest perspective. And I do really, truly believe both of you, at your deepest sense of who you are, want this connection. But I feel like this side of the connection here has a little bit more pain, a little bit more memory that they have to work through or release and let go. And they may be trying to hand it to you, and you're like, no, I don't want that. That's not mine anymore. I'm sorry that that happened, but that doesn't belong to me anymore. And you have to trust that that's okay to say that. You have to be, as present as you can in the moment, and then just continue to love them and see how that progresses and how that changes for you, because it will change. I swear, like the sun indicates, like a new day, a new dawn, a new energy to all of this will happen, but you just have to trust it. Hey, Ashley, how are you, dear? I just saw you sent over payment. Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. I will do a charming for you in just a moment. Mary, are you still here? Hey, Suzanne Barlow. I don't know if Mary's still here. No, they don't lie. They don't lie, girl. But things will be okay. And there is this opportunity to rise to this Two of Cups energy versus don't retreat. Don't pull into this hermit to protect yourself. And allow her space, right? But if you're the one doing this hermit shit, don't do it, Mary. Don't do it. Hey, Beth Allen, how are you, honey? Thank you for I saw your PayPal today, so we're good for let me flip cameras because I just feel like I'm not talking to you guys directly. Well, but Leo's a good thing. Leo's very generous. I would say even maybe this could be an indicator by summer things will be okay. Like by deep in summer, and maybe even in Leo season, and when the sun is at its highest, you'll be all right in Reno and you'll understand why you went there. I wanted to say really quick, I got your message, Beth, about the PayPal. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Tuesday I can do, but it would have to be after work. I'm starting a new job on tomorrow morning, and I'm working, I believe, till 3:30 my time all week long. The only day I have off is Wednesday. So it's going to be a different sort of availability, at least for the next few months while I work this job for the CDC. So we're being contracted by the CDC, so I don't work for the CDC. But anyways, it's only like a 3-month gig, but I'm going to do it because I need the money. And so my work schedule may slightly change each week, but I'm around, but it would need to be 3:30 or later my time. But I am working from home, so it can be close to 3:30. So just let me know if that works. Wednesday could work because I'm off all day Wednesday for sure. All right, so I almost hit end stream. What am I doing? I'm a ding dong. All right, let me go. I'm going to clear these cards up. Do you have any questions before I clear these cards, Mary? Or is it pretty self-explanatory, which I think it very well might be. And we've also got two really strong personalities kind of at this. But both have really good intentions. Both have, even the Two of Wands meeting the Three of Cups to me also feels very, the Two of Wands is full of hope and possibility, and also indicates, the idea of traveling to Reno to kind of bond with her or be closer to her. You just got to give it time. All right, I'm going to clear these then. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Tammy. And let me do Ashley's charming. Ashley, what did you want me to charm on? Do you have a one-word subject? I think I've torqued my hand. This is not, maybe it's from all the card shuffling. I feel like there's a strain right down here. It's not like carpal, but could you imagine if I had tarot carpal? Jesus, what a mess I'd be. Oh, she got carpal from shuffling too many cards. Let's try love, she says. Famous last words. All right, let's see what's going on for love for Ashley. All right, so let's pull the letters out first. We've got E. Oh my God, if we have love, I'm gonna die. We have L, O. Oh, come on, V. Oh no, we have lope. Elope. Or Lepo. All right, so it's 1, 2, 3 would be 5, and then 6. So we have numerological number of 6. 6 can be about balance. Damn, they couldn't spell out love. That would have been so cool. All right, so let's see what we've got going on here. All right, first thing I want to say, just looking at all of this, is why do you believe that stuff is going to fall apart? And the reason why I ask you that is because it's just this feeling I get, right? I feel like this Mary is you, right? And she's sort of bordering on your subconscious and your conscious mind. And it's nice to see her here. I like this because I feel like she's optimistic, bright, empowered, feels like, you know, hopefully there's a future for her. Her head to me is pointed towards the future. But what interests me about the future charms that we have here and here is we have the hammer and we have the needle and thread. And the needle and thread always makes me think of like delicate handiwork, right? Like having to thread that needle and do the stitch over and over again. And the hammer would indicate hard work to me, like manual labor. So when I'm thinking about love, we've got this word dream here, right? And it's right near Mary's head. So to me, it feels like maybe to you, the idea of love is a dream. The idea of love is hard work and needs to be handled delicately moving forward, or whatever it is you are dealing with right now. It may not feel like you fully have it. It still might feel a little bit dreamlike, and you're worried that it's going to have to be a lot of work and be handled delicately, right? And this worry to me is sitting right on the border of your subconscious and your conscious mind. Down here, the reason why I feel like you don't necessarily trust this tarot coin here is making me feel very much about, you know, it takes me to your past. I feel like this is that it's a 5 of Wands coin. To me, the 5 of Wands indicates, like, I always call it the whole lot of fuckery. Like, it makes me feel like she's had a past that's been checkered with weird relationships, weird exes, things falling apart, things getting competitive, people not acting on their best behavior. And I'm not talking about you, Ashley, I'm talking about others. And I think that this is deep down in your subconscious. Like, we expect, I'd almost go so far as to say, is this not just love related? Is this maybe family related, right? Like, where we've been let down by the people that are supposed to love us the most. And so what we do is we kind of just believe, like, oh God, if I'm ever gonna have love, I'm gonna really have to work hard at it. I'm gonna have to be careful about it. Is it all just a dream? I can't really trust anyone. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from all of these. Not like in a, you know, it's just, I feel like this down here, sitting down here in your subconscious says to me that she's had a history of, and it's not just romantic as my feeling. It feels like this could be other relationships too, where either maybe it's been good friends that have fucked you over or whatever, but it's this sort of idea that, like, can I trust others is the vibe that I'm getting from this. Now let's look at these things here. This would be more in the conscious mind, but in the past. So let's see what this coin is. This is the sun coin. It's if things were better in the past. I feel like the fact that it was flipped over just says to me that this this moment of the sun, or the kind of the energy, the optimism, the hope that it presents has kind of come and gone for you. Sort of my feeling. I hate to say that, but that's the vibe that I'm getting from this. There might have been a time in the past where things felt easier, more accessible, You might have been more energized or more optimistic. You might have been able to put things together more quickly, especially in the love department. You might have even had more suitors or more attention placed upon you. The fact that Mary shows up here to me says that you're an attractive person. You're kind, you're caring, you're empowered. You're all these wonderful things that Mary to me would represent as a female. But I'm not talking about like, religious, right? Like I don't want you to get into that way, but like there's certain female figures in this box that come out, and Mary to me says that you probably are a caretaker. You probably have done and gone like to far lengths in previous relationships, and maybe that's not been, at times it's been appreciated, but at other times maybe it's been taken advantage of, I feel like. And it's not just with romantic relationships. I know that. I can feel it with this fucking coin. So here in the center, what's going on here that we don't like necessarily see? This is the Page of Pentacles. And when I flip it over, not only is it flipped over, but it's upside down. I'm going to say this. Somebody who's being rather juvenile, because that would be the Page energy, might be breadcrumbing you. Or you've recently been breadcrumbed. And what I mean by breadcrumb is where they give you a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. They keep you like on a hook, like a fish on a string, like when they're like, what's the word? The donkey following the carrot kind of thing, like the carrot on a stick to get the donkey to walk. To me, that's breadcrumbing. And when I see Mary here being that sort of caretaker energy, it makes me want to go to this place of empathy. You might be more of a bit of an empath. You might take care of your partners. And so you're used to maybe people kind of taking more than you're giving. Does that make sense? And so there might be somebody in the background. That's why this was flipped over, upside down, or flipped so we couldn't see it. There may be somebody that either is still kind of hovering in the background or we're not quite clear about. But what I'm going to tell you is, because it's upside down when I flip it over and it's the Page of Pentacles, I feel like this person is not necessarily the right person for you. They could be an earth sign in the sense of Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. But more importantly, the Page of Pentacles would indicate somebody that could potentially be leading you on. They could be rather immature about what they're doing. They could be not being very communicative or moving really slowly and giving you like kind of weird signals that don't make a lot of sense. Mary, to me, being this way, she's upright, she's open, she's receptive, and she's also, I like that her head's to the future, which says to me, you are thinking about, not only where you're at right now, but where do you want to be, like say love-wise, in the next year or two or 5 years, or down the line. But down the line, you've already predicted, or what I feel like the prediction is, or the thoughts are in your mind, is that it's going to be hard work and need to be built or worked at, and it's also going to be delicate work. We need to be careful with this spool, right? This other charm here that's flipped over, it says a wonderful journey is ahead. It's almost scraped off, but it's flipped over. So that says to me right now, whatever's going on and whoever you've got going on here, that might be either, I get a feeling that this Page of Pentacles is either somebody that you've just gotten done with, or you're still involved with, but they're not fully in the picture. They're not like, their foot's in the door, but they're not willing to come in the room. And to me, that's the part where this wonderful journey is ahead. Is it's like, at times it feels like that might be there. Right? At times he might give you signals or an opportunity where you're like, okay, maybe now he's finally getting it. Now he's coming around. Now he's going to let me in and be here and be present. But it doesn't quite come through. It doesn't quite happen. Right? He gives you a little bit and then leaves. That's not very fair. And so that's also why we kind of feel like this dream is here. This dream charm is here. To me, it might feel like, is this ever going to really kind of come together or happen? And even if it did, like the belief is that it would require work and all of that. And do you really trust it? Because this 5 of Wands down in the subconscious says to me that I kind of feel like, although you're a good person, right? You're a kind person, you have all of these wonderful attributes that Mary would have. It's like, do you believe that you can find the person that will not only like appreciate those aspects of you, but also honor them in a way, right? And grace you with sort of similar attributes, right? From themselves versus just you being the one that brings all of sort of the love and the empathy to the table. This spells pole. It's still a 6 though. So I kind of feel like, is love in the picture? I think that there's somebody that's around you that's not necessarily giving you what you want. You're receptive to it. You want it. The dream charm also makes me think that for you, the idea of love is very important. It's something that you do think about and that you desire and that you know would be powerful. I think that Mary represents that when you do love somebody or you care for somebody, your love and your care is genuine, it's honest, it's real. But has it always been well received? This Five of Wands would indicate that even if it's a non-romantic love, there's other relationships in your history that also kind of temper your belief system at a subconscious level that make you think that attaining love isn't easy, or that, and I'm not saying that it is or it isn't, but what I see that these charms tell me is that you don't necessarily believe that it's there for you, or if it is, you're going to have to work at it, and it's going to be moving forward potentially delicate, or that it could like fall apart. That's kind of this thimble with the thread on it. Yeah, that breadcrumber is definitely the Chariot. Yeah, I pretty much shut them all out these days, LOL. So I think with Mary there and the dream charm there, I really believe even the sun charm in the past says to me that like you deserve good things, you deserve love, you deserve to have like sort of the warmth of the sun shine on you. You've had it in the past. At this point, you may not feel like it's there anymore, but you need to sort of believe and like sort of build upon those good attributes that are yours, right? That Mary would sort of represent, and understand and appreciate what you're bringing to the table. And as you move forward into the future, kind of hold that as holy and sacred, and then allow others or those that come into your life that only see that and appreciate that, only allow them in. And that's sort of the dream to me. That's sort of how we find love, or how you may find love. I hope that makes sense. So I have a question. Oh, hey, Dorothy just sent over. I didn't even notice this. Dorothy, did you send over payment? Did you want a charming or card reading? You're welcome, Ashley. Thank you so much. I'm going to clear the board now. Dorothy Baxter, are you still here, dear? I just saw that you sent payment. Did you want cards or a charming, dear? A outgoing farming, I should go for it card. Wait, what? I don't understand. So cards, I'm assuming you're asking for cards. So I'm gonna shut this. And I'm gonna ask which deck you want, which deck calls out to you. I'm not sure what the goat farming is about, Dorothy, but I'm not going to get too particular about that. But is there a deck that calls out to you either one of these two? You can do one or two. Just let me know which one you want. So deck two, okay. And then now, did you have a question? Hi, Kylie. How are you, dear? Do you have a question about goat farming, or what? I just need a one-word subject matter if you want me to concentrate on a specific area. If not, I can just do a general reading for you, and we can see what comes through. So you can just say general, or if you want like love or career or that kind of a thing. Oh, should I go into goat farming? Okay, fierce. Let's look. Let's see. Okay, this is so strange. Like, I feel like it calms you down. I don't know why, but the minute I start shuffling the cards and thinking about that in my head, I feel really calm. Like it brings me a sense of joy or peace. I don't know if that's correct for you, but I feel like the cards feel light and happy when I'm thinking about should I go into goat farming. So let's see what happens. Don't take that as the reading just yet. Don't buy the farm yet. Let me see. But I just feel like there's a certain amount of joy or something, some excitement, some happiness that comes with it. Like, I don't know if it's about being around the animals or what, but it definitely feels optimistic. I want to shuffle one more time. I didn't like that cut. Sorry. That cut felt weak. Well, that's a little bit better, but not much. Okay, so that means the cards are going to be in charge. All right, so let's look at the center. The center is the King of Wands. The King of Wands is the sort of, I see it, I take it, it's mine kind of card, right? He is the essence of the fire signs, right? So he'd be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarian energy. He's about desire, about being an authority, about being in charge, about making things happen, right? He sees what he wants and he goes after it. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's no sort of mistaking it for him, right? So I like that this is your center around this idea. This means that the optimism or the possibility of you wanting this is very strong, I feel like. The desire to do this is also very strong. There's something about it that there feels like there's a singularity of purpose. This is something that I want to say, hopefully you've thought about for a long time. Does the jump feel impulsive? It could, right? Because this is the Wands suit, and Wands would be about taking action and desire. And sometimes we don't always necessarily think those things through. But this being the King makes me feel like you have reflected upon this for a long time. And there is a strong desired pull towards goat farming, if that makes any sense, right? And so I kind of feel like you very well may want to do this, but let's see what the other cards say really quick. Now, this next card is down here. I call this the foundation. It's what everything's built upon. It tells me a little bit about the past and why everything is the way that it is today. So this is the Lovers card. I love this, right? As your foundation, this is about making a choice. The lovers, they always, people associate it with like, soulmates, and that's correct to do. But there's also a choice in the lover's card, especially in the traditional Rider-Waite, because it depicts Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And they had to make that choice between like, taking the apple and eating it or not, right? And do we make the choice to be vulnerable? Do we make the choice to pursue the thing that we love? It's associated with the sign of Gemini. But what I like about this being underneath the King of Wands is that fire burns from air, right? And air, like fire, requires oxygen to burn. These two are complementary to one another. This is major arcana. So although it's a big decision, and yes, it's a decision about what we love to do versus what we, think we should do, I think that that choice is yours to be made. I also think that this king, i.e. you, and in your center of centers, your heart of hearts, who you are, you know what you want. You know how to get there. You're probably not going to take no for an answer. You may need to convince a partner. That could be the gentleman that's down here, right? But ultimately, I kind of feel, because this is the Lover's card, that ultimately, if you make the decision to move forward with the goat farming, he will sort of fall in line or get with you on that tip, right? Where this kind of comes together. But it's about making that big, significant choice and trusting that choice. Now, let's look to the higher self and see what the spirit is saying, or your spirit is saying. So it's the Hanged Man, right? We just saw this in Mary's reading. So this is card number 12. This is associated with Pisces energy, right? So we have air, fire, water, right? In the higher self, the Hanged Man is definite indecision. And so to me, I don't mind the Hanged Man because I'm a Pisces. I swim in both directions, living from the bottom to the top. Okay, I see your message, living from the bottom to the top. Let me finish this reading and I'll check my PayPal. Thank you. I like your name though. This being in your spirit space, right? With the Hanged Man, to me being a Pisces, I don't mind thinking about things from every other angle. It's just how my brain works, right? And that's kind of the Hanged Man's energy too, is like, I got to figure this out before I make a move, before I take action. But the desire is strong, and the King of Wands is all about taking action. And the push of the Lovers can also kind of be pushing you. Your spirit might feel a little bit unsure, torn. I don't want to say unsure or torn, but there's something that you need to know first. There's something that you need to sort of realize or come to terms with, or create an awareness around, that will allow you to be able to fully move forward. There might be a pause for right now, and it might be a needed pause that will illuminate you, educate you, help you to better understand things, right? But I'm going to say this, my gut, or what I'm feeling, and I Dorothy, ultimately, this is your decision to make. This is not me making the decision for you. I'm just going to tell you, with the King of Wands in the center and the Lovers as the foundation, I feel like once this passes in your spirit, you probably will move forward into goat farming. That's just what my gut is telling me. But that's my gut. Don't let my gut make decisions for you in your life, okay? That's just a given, right? We know that. So, but I kind of feel like even the Hanged Man isn't a bad card. It's just about a card of being in the present moment, waiting it out, waiting for the truth to come, waiting for the inspiration to come, waiting for the illumination on high to come. And at that point, we're ready to then take action and move forward based in love after what it is that we want. I like that this is also in your spirit space, because to me, this is about spiritual awareness or illumination, education that's in the process of happening right now. You could be preparing yourself to move forward into this goat farming. You just might not be fully, there yet, but it's a yet kind of scenario, especially with the Hanged Man up here. Now let's look at the two outside influences and see what they are. So one is the Five of Wands. So this tells me right out of the gate, there's a lot of people around you that are probably telling you not to do it. They're probably all got opinions. They probably are like, what are you fucking thinking, Dorothy? Don't do it, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna just turn on a little more light because it's starting to get dark here in the room. Their opinions may matter to you. They could be friends, family, people like that, but they've all got different opinions, different than yours, and none of them are living your life, right? There could be a little bit of like competitiveness going on in this card, challenges certainly from the outside, people's opinions or personalities overriding sort of the truth of what you know to be true in your center. And that could be what's causing some of the pause up here, because you might be taking on board a little bit too much of what others outside of you have to say about you and your situation and why you want to do it. And really, it shouldn't matter, because if you love it and you desire it, you should be able to have it ultimately. But you might want to, make them happy too and include them in on this process. Now let's look at the other outside influence. The other outside influence is the Magician. So this being another outside influence, the Magician is major arcana. It's about creation. It's about having the power to create sort of whatever it is that we want. It's about being able to manipulate scenarios, create magic, essentially. So if you're feeling led towards this goat farming thing, if things kind of start to begin to fall into place, that would be this Magician energy. That would be this sort of idea. This could be potentially somebody helping you outside of you, but this could also just be sort of things lining up in a weird way where you're starting to find yourself going like, oh shit, here comes the goat farm. That's completely fine. Let that happen. I would be mindful of listening to the voices around you of the people, although they might quote unquote care about you, right? They don't see it the way you do. They don't feel about it the way that you do. Your center is really what's driving you, and this Lover's card in the bottom, right? So they may never get it, and that's okay. That's not for them to get. There's some outside influences that are very powerful that kind of could potentially be moving you towards this. And that this card here says to me that the creative energy and the opportunity here is ready and waiting for you when you're ready to move forward. But make sure that you feel like you have everything that you need deep within you, right? And I mean that like at your highest self level, that you've moved forward in a way that feels free, in a way that feels empowered. And I think that you will get there, because you have this King of Wands and you have the Lovers in the foundation. So you're going to get there. It's just a matter of time of working out the kinks of probably these folks over here. This, to me, I always call this the whole lot of fuckery card. It's annoying, but we have to deal with it. It's outside life stuff. All right, so now this is the last card. The last card is the potential outcomes. This card tells me where things are naturally headed, barring that nothing major changes, right? So it's not set in stone by any means, but if it is if it's something we don't like or we don't want to have happen, we can make choices or changes now to affect the outcome, right? But if we like this card and we're okay with it, we can take heart in the fact that we're naturally sort of migrating towards this outcome. So let's see what it is. So we have the Queen of Wands. We have the Queen and the King here. I just want you to see that. Now, do you see how happy she is? So we have the Queen of, I'm going to say this, I'm not even so sure that your partner may not want to be a goat farmer too in all of this. I love that she shows up here, because to me, the Queen of Wands, I'm going to put her here because I normally like lay her that way just because that's how my outcomes go. But I'm putting her right here next to the King. Let's move this Magician out. I feel like there should be signs too with this Magician that like are leading you towards this, like weird synchronistic signs where like that's the feeling I get from this Magician. It's like this is the universe kind of trying to move you towards it, even amidst the chaos of people saying no. When I see this Queen of Wands, the Queen of Wands, she represents that, again, that element of fire, the spirit, desire, taking action. She's warm, she's loving, she is like I kind of feel like she's the rule breaker, right? In the sense, in a good way. Like she is the lady that knows all the rules only so that she can then bend them to her will in a kind way. It's not like she's a cheater by any means, but she sort of has an ability to kind of manipulate situations in a way that benefits her. Not, and I don't mean that as a selfish thing. I mean that as like, we call her the Beyonce card, me and another reader friend of mine, because she owns everything about her. She uses her sensuality, sexuality, brains, power, brawn, all of the aspects of the feminine to get what she wants. She also has a strong connection to the spiritual side of life, right? Her being the Queen of Wands, and Wands being the element of spirit. So this magician energy that's coming to serve her and the King of Wands, it makes sense to me. It's like it's pushing you guys towards potentially doing this. He is so about it. That's the Lovers card down here. I think you guys should do it. And that's just my personal opinion, but do not make any decisions because of a reading that I gave you. Okay? Hold on. I just need to say that with the camera on me, so I feel like I'm talking to you. Just 1 second. Because I'm weird like that. Please do not make any major life decisions by anything that I say, okay? Just trust yourself, your heart, your higher self. Talk to your husband. You know all this stuff. I know that, but I love giving readings, and I love when it feels all positive like this, but I also don't want to be making life decisions for others, right? I'm here to help you to kind of look at things maybe in a different light, or support you in what you may already feel. But ultimately, I don't want to take away anybody's free will and make the decisions for them. So I just have to caveat that, because this is a big decision for you. But who wouldn't, like, if you do become a goat farmer, will you please get those kind of goats that they go stiff-legged and fall over? Because I love those little guys. When you see them on the videos, they get scared. They like fall over. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but get a couple of those. You'll be howling, laughing, jumping out from behind trees. Boom. All right. So back to the reading. Sorry. I get nervous when I give readings because I want people to make feel empowered by their own decisions. And I feel like that's also what this Hanged Man is about too. It's about you feeling that deep soulful security as you move forward in this, and it's only a matter of time before you have it, because the Hanged Man, that's the light around her third eye and crown, is she's hanging there waiting, because she knows that once it emotionally feels right, it will be right to move forward. And I love that you also have, I'm just going to point this out really quick, I love that you have major arcana both above you and below you. So you have the Hanged Man and you have the Lovers. And so to me, this is a big decision. Yes, is a pivotal decision, but will it bring you happiness? It very well potentially could. It could really put you and your husband. I love that both the King and Queen of Wands show up here. So there's an equality there that I love. It starts out with the King, but the Queen arrives. So there's also this, both of you feeling potentially empowered and happy where you are. Will there be unhappy folk? Sure. Maybe the kids don't want to live on a goat farm, or maybe your parents think, what are you, crazy, getting a goat farm? But you know what? We've been through COVID, for fuck's sake. Like, maybe that's exactly what you need. Who the hell knows? The magician will help you to get there. You already have bought some goats. Well, there's your answer. Oh my God, you guys are hilarious. Okay, so I'm going to clear this, and then I'm going to do Enlightened Ferret, I guess. I have a reading for Enlightened Ferret. I thought your son doesn't want goats. I was thinking the Five of Wands is like the kids are like, I don't want to be goat farmers. I could hear their voices in my head, and it's just sort of like, don't listen to them. Do what you want to do. Enlightened Ferret, are you still here? I think that was that. Let me see here. Where did they go? Hey, Amanda Joe, how are you, dear? Where did he go? Didn't I have a message? Like 200 to 300 goats. I don't think, like, this is my feeling, Dorothy. The King and Queen of Wands showed up. That, to me, is a blessing, and the Lovers, all of that sort of stuff. 200 to 300 goats is not. That's a decision you need to make. I'm just going to leave it at that. But I think that I'm not worried about you becoming a goat farmer from that reading. I'll just say that the amount of goats, is up to you. Like, that's your thing. I think that that's, neither here nor there in a weird way, because that King and Queen of Wands, the Lovers being the foundation, I think that you guys could potentially very much be happy doing that, whether you have 200 or 300, I don't know. You may want to start out with 10. No, I'm not, and I'm kidding there. Oh, it's Amy Jo. Hi. I'm like, who's Enlightened Ferret? All right, Amy Jo, are you ready? Did you want a card reading or a charming? You have 10 now. Okay, then now you can move to the 200. Awesome, Amy Jo. Which deck do you want me to use, or did you want a charming? It's up to you. I can do either a card reading or a charming. Oh, Amanda, thank you for your payment. I just saw it. The blue deck. This one, yes? Okay. And then did you have a topic, one word area that you want me to focus on, or just a general reading? Hi, what's up, bud? What's up, bud? What you doing? Hey, Papa Bear. What's going on? Yeah, no, I know the blue deck, but did you just want a general reading, Amy Jo? Wow, we have Amy Jo and Amanda Jo. How funny is that? The A Joes are in the house. Am I going in the right direction? Okay, let's see what's going on. So I'm gonna say this as I'm shuffling the cards. I feel like things aren't as smooth as they normally are, or as you normally like them to be, right? Like, I can feel like there's a little bit of a clunkiness, and it makes me nervous. Like, things aren't coming together as they always do or usually do for you, Amy. And so, to me, it makes me feel like sort of clunky, or like, it's hard to explain. Like, can I trust this? Is because things aren't easy right now, does this mean I'm doing the wrong thing? It's that sort of a vibe as I'm shuffling the deck, right? So let's see what comes out in the cards, because that could be what we're feeling, and we're allowing those feelings to kind of dictate, whether or not something is right or wrong. And that may not be the case. It could just be sort of outside influences, or, you're in a rough patch right now. That doesn't necessarily mean that what you're doing is wrong. It's just as smooth as you would like it to be. So in your center, we have the Five of Wands, which was the outside of the last reading that I just did. So I'm going to say this again. This is like the whole lot of fuckery card, right? This is indecision at its finest. This is other people's opinions pervading your space. This is probably you taking on what other people think about what you should and shouldn't be doing, way more on board than you should be. And it's creating confusion or an inability to trust sort of which direction you want to go and how you want to get there. There might be a lot of opinions around you, people telling you, no, 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 this is what you should do, or no, 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 this is the way you got to do that. This is what worked for me, blah, blah, blah. But all of that is kind of creating a little bit of chaos in your center. And so it's really hard to make a decision or see clearly the path because you've got so many, this is like sort of that idea of there's too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing. So it's hard to have a clear idea of is this right or is this wrong when we have this as a center. The one good thing about this card is that the Five of Cups, the Five of Wands, fives are always transitory, like they're transitional cards, meaning this energy will change. There is too this urgency to want to get moving or get things going. And it could be urgency not only from you, but also from those around you. And so don't allow that to affect you or to make a decision in haste or too quickly that isn't the right decision for you, right? The next card is the Foundation, or why things are the way that they are today. So this is the Sun. I'm not mad at this card as the Foundation. Ultimately, this gives me a really good feeling right out of the gate without even seeing the rest of the cards that ultimately with this is the Foundation. Although things may have seemed brighter in the past, more in control, more positive, more optimistic, came to you more easily, all of that sort of stuff. This being down here says to me that you can arrive back at this point again. You have to remember that you've been here before. You've been sort of celebrated, shined upon, energized, all of that, inspired, all of the things that the Sun would represent. You've been those things in the past, so allow them to come to you again, right? These are also the things that are driving you into the now or into the future. So this is a really positive card to have down here, even in the midst of the indecision or the chaos that might feel like is in your center right now, okay? This, again, I'm gonna just repeat, it's transitional. So it's not gonna stay this way forever, especially with this Sun here, because the Sun will shed truth on whatever's going on in here, and you'll start to be able to weed out, like, you know, others' opinions, their bullshit, that all that drama, so that you can feel clear on why you're doing what you're doing and whether or not it's correct for you or not. Ultimately, I feel like the Sun down here says to me that you're steering kind of the Sun. If the Sun is the card that sort of is in the background steering this reading, you're being steered in a very positive way. So I want to say that. Now, the Spirit card, or what's up above you, this is the Page of Swords. So this immediately tells me that you don't trust everything that's going on. Like, this is like our little psychic detective of the deck, right? Swords is the mind, pages are immature, youthful, younger, sort of, yes, they can be optimistic and exuberant, but when I think about this being up here, to me, it feels like I need to figure some more stuff out. I need clarity for myself. I don't feel that clear in not only in my spirit, but also in my mind. My mind's not clear, so my spirit's not clear. So I feel like I'm getting this message from Spirit to investigate more, to learn something new, to figure out our thoughts around this before we make a move, because we don't want to make a move in this wonky energy. Because this also, when I talk about this as being your center, this is not only where you're at now and what you're dealing with now, but this can also be what you can potentially be creating for the future. So if we make a decision or act in this chaos that is the Five of Wands, that's sort of like, say we make a decision where we're really confused and we're like, I'm not sure if this is the right thing, but I'm just going to commit to it and go, and I'm going to move forward. You can, but could you be exacerbating this energy or creating more of this indecision and chaos for your future? You could potentially, right? Because the Sun will energize and amplify just about anything that we've got going on, right? So I feel like this is like to me, I feel like he's a little bit of a warning from our Spirit that says do a little bit more investigative work. Amy Jo, if you don't feel like it's right now, there's a reason for that. I think that that reason could be outside of you, but it's also the opinions and stuff of people outside of you is creating chaos internally for you, right? So let's look to the outside influences and see what's going on. So one of this is the Wheel of Fortune. Not a bad card, Major Arcana. I like this card being here. The Wheel of Fortune always says, like, ultimately, it's not the wheel of misfortune, right? It's the Wheel of Fortune. It's there to sort of take you wherever you want to go. How you choose to focus and how you choose to harness that energy is really up to you. And it's going to spin you ideally en route towards what it is for your highest good. But if you're operating from a place of fear, worry, indecision, all of that sort of stuff, it's going to give you more situations that bring about more of that. If you can relax into it, find that clarity, do that detective work, do that investigation, find that sort of sense of centeredness within yourself, the wheel is going to give you more and more of the things that you want and desire than you realize. But if you're in this state of indecision or feeling chaotic, then the wheel is probably going to give you just a little bit more of that until you can find your way out of that vibration, right? So it can move you forward. The wheel does move a little bit slowly. So know that there's an opportunity here or a window here, but I feel like we want to shift this card that's in our center to something that's more positive and stable so that we can really access the power of this. The other outside influence is the King of Swords. So the King of Swords could indicate court cards usually are people outside of ourselves. This would be somebody that's in authority, usually an older male. It would be somebody that's potentially an air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, potentially. I do feel like this is a man that's blocking you. I feel like I'm not sure if this is a partner of yours, like if you have a husband or a boyfriend, but I kind of feel like he needs to be convinced before you're allowed to move forward, if that makes sense. Because like your question is, am I on the right path, right? And I feel like it's interesting you have the Page of Swords up here in your spirit space, right? Where it's like, do a little bit more investigative work, figure out a little bit more, find the answers intellectually. Are these answers for him? Is this worry and this kind of chaos in here because of whoever this person is or what this person represents, where you have to rise to their analytical nature and convince them so that you're allowed to move forward in what it is that you want to do? That's kind of the feeling that I get. If this is not a specific person in your life, if you're like, nope, there's no men in my life, no air signs, nobody in authority, there's nobody I'm trying to impress, this could be situations where you need to be more analytical, you need to be more precise. And unfortunately, the chaos that's going on in here is not working to get you past the guard at the gate, so to speak, right? And so that's why you're not feeling like you're on the right path. This Page of Wands says, okay, Page, let's learn how to think like the King of Wands so that we can do some detective work, so that we can impress the gatekeeper and move forward in a sort of analytical, less fearful way, and make the opportunities that the Wheel of Fortune wants to give us happen and unfold and kind of roll out. Now, when you say, am I on the wrong path? I don't think that you're on the wrong path, dear. I think that you're on the path with the wrong focus, is my feeling. I feel like this card here sort of says it all. It says to me that her doubt, her worry, her indecision or fear is what's causing her the inability to not trust the path that she's on. And really, ultimately, you should be able to do that. And if you can't, then you need to figure out a way that you can so that you can move forward, because the Sun wants you to move forward. So does the Wheel of Fortune. Even the King of Swords wants you to meet him and impress him in a way, right? Whether that's an actual person or a situation, it wants to support you and move you forward. Now, the next card is the Potential Outcomes card. This card tells me a bit about sort of where things could be headed, barring that nothing major changes. So this is not set in stone, but we can take heart in the fact that we're naturally heading towards it, barring like that nothing major changes. But if it's a bad card, we can take it as a warning and make choices and changes in our life to affect the outcome. So this card is the Two of Cups. I'm not mad at the Two of Cups. I think that what's going on here is that if this is a significant other outside of you that you need to impress, at some point you will, or you will convince him and be able to move forward, that the path that you are on is right, that ideally if the path that you're on involves maybe the potential of a partner of some sort, that could be going on, and you might feel like you don't trust him completely and you need to figure him out a little bit. Ultimately, you'll feel bonded to him, or things will be okay. If it's not something like that, and it's somebody you need to convince by finding more peace within yourself to trust your path, ideally, the Two of Cups indicates that you will find that trust and that emotional stability, that bond within yourself, if that's all that it is, or if it's a bond with somebody else. You will be able to find that, appreciate that, reciprocate that, and operate from that. There's a peace there. And when we see this kick in, that is like, not only is it beautiful, but it also allows the sun to do its work from the past and in the now. And it also allows the Wheel of Fortune to open up and blessings to be bestowed upon you. But you have to realize that you are blessed. And the sooner the better is what I'm going to say. No pressure, and there's no sort of time limit, but the sooner that you kind of relax into where you're at and what you're doing, and understand that, like, it's kind of like there's no right or wrong path. It's just, it is the path. How you choose to experience is where it gets right or wrong. And that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting here. So this card needs to kind of go. This card needs to come in, and then you need to watch the magic happen. Then if there's no boyfriend or husband, like I said, this is situations around you that if you're feeling like you're not on the right path, this King of Swords is life trying to show you to whatever life is throwing at you that might be making you think, oh shit, I've chosen the wrong thing. That's this. That's the King of Swords. That's life throwing at you analytical situations that might require you to sort of rise up and be clear in thought and mind, and trust what you're doing over the kind of struggle that might be happening internally. And that is an understatement. No husband or boyfriend. So I hope that makes sense, Amy Jo. All right, Amanda Jo, are you available? I don't know if Amy Jo's still there. She's taking a while to answer, so. I mean, a question like, if you're on the right path, I think that you are. It's just a matter of shifting that question to a statement versus questioning it. That's my feeling from this reading. You want the black deck general, okay. So I'm going to clear this off. Okay, so general reading. In our center, we have the sun. I'm going to take it. We've seen the sun twice tonight. The sun is actually in the beginning of this week's weekly reading for the first few days of this week. Sun is associated with Leo energy. This should feel exuberant, optimistic, that like anything is possible. I wouldn't be surprised if you're attracting attention right now, even. Maybe if people are giving you compliments, noticing you. There might be room for upward mobility, like promotions at work, being honored or acknowledged. For like good deeds or things that you're doing right and correct. To me, I like this as your center. It feels like anything is possible. There should be hope. There should be optimism. This does not feel like a depressed card or anything where it's like, oh, this is actually a card to like take action on, to make movement, to make things begin to happen in a positive way. And it is, and you're a Leo, that's perfect. And it's associated with the sign of Leo. So that's perfect, right? But to me, this is a powerful energy to have as your center right now. Plus, you're a Leo in Aries season. So it's fire on fire. So girl, you're on fire right now. Let's just go with that. All right. So the next card is the foundation or the past. Tells me why everything is the way that it is. I would also say too, with this as your center, now is a really fucking creative time. Excuse my language, but it's a really good creative time for you. Use it. Harness that. So we have the Hermit. So the Hermit is Virgo energy. It is major arcana. I'm not mad about this being down here. To me, this is from the past. So it feels like coming from the dark into the light, right? This could have been 2020 and isolation or quarantine, right? But we've learned something in the past by spending time internally, by doing the work, by doing the soul searching, by figuring ourselves out a little bit more, by digging a little bit deeper. That's what this would indicate. But the strength that comes with the Hermit, the awareness, the spiritual awareness that comes with the Hermit, the knowing who we are at the deepest level of ourselves, allows us to step forward into this sun energy and allows us to shine as we truly are, appreciating who we truly are. And it's set on this bedrock of this spiritual awareness of the Hermit. So I like all of that, right? We might find moments where we find ourselves wanting to retreat back or pull back and find our quiet time. That's completely fine. Allow that. But when we move forward into, being outward or extroverted, imagine that it's going to be powerful, energetic, electric even. And it's all being powered by this deep awareness that you have from yourself that you've gained somewhere in the past. Now, let's look at the Spirit or Soul card. This is the Ace of Wands. Whoa, girl. Okay. I love how that sits up in your spirit space. I'd be paying very close attention to your intuition right now, to the voices in your head, even if they, not if they sound crazy, but, like to your intuitions, to your gut feelings, to anything that, sort of, how do I want to say this? Like psychic energy, basically. Wands would be the element of spirit. This being in your spirit space is a very powerful card. Aces indicate new beginnings, also the relationship to the self. When I see an Ace of Wands up here in your spirit space, I would prepare yourself for big changes about to come. I expect an email probably in the next week or two from you going like, oh shit, you said big changes were coming and I didn't really think that was possible. And sure enough, they will. I would say that the energy of the sun is going to be what propels you forward along these new paths. They could be surprises for you. They will be pleasant surprises. They will be desirous. They could be spiritual in nature, or they're going to be things that you're naturally drawn towards. Not only do I feel that with the Ace of Wands, but I also feel that with the sun energy. There's also a deep spiritual sort of core to these three cards, right? Well, I would say to the Hermit and to the Ace of Wands, but the sun like is kind of the battery or the thing that energizes these two, right? Not only from the work from the past, but also the newness of the future and where our spirit wants us to go now. So don't like deny it. Don't not listen to it, because if you don't, it's gonna, I don't want to say it's going to bite you in the ass, but it's going to not be denied. Let's just say that, okay? And if we waste this, I don't want to say waste either, because that makes you fearful. It's not like, I don't want to say you can waste this, but right now, to me, when I'm looking at these three cards, this is a really ripe time to figure out where we want to be in the world for you. Because like there's a deep knowingness with the Hermit, there's this exuberance and this possibility with the sun, and then there's this like deep spiritual voice that could be relatively new to you, but it should be hitting you, and you need to be listening to it. Okay, so let's go to the outside influences and see what they are. One is the Nine of Cups. So we're talking about emotional freedom, emotional like control, the opportunity to feel connected to the world around you in a way that you probably haven't for a while, especially with this hermit in the past. This feels to me like the world giving you kind of opportunities to feel more emotionally complete, opportunities to understand and feel appreciated, validated. That's the sun in the center, right? As you emanate this positivity, more positive things come back to you. And that's the Nine of Cups, right? She's standing here over a treasure chest. So to me, this is blessings coming at you from the outside world. The other side is the Seven of Swords. Now, Seven of Swords would be the liar, cheater, stealer card. Not necessarily the best card in the deck, but I'm not mad at it because I feel like even though there might be a thief in the midst, or like, and when I say thief, I don't mean like literal thief, but there could be somebody that's not being honest, some sort of a betrayal that could be going on around you. Don't worry, in the sense that I feel like these three cards here are strong enough and capable enough, aware enough of who they are, that this is nothing for them to deal with. This could be something as easily as a boyfriend or something ditching, getting caught in a lie. And the reason why I say that is it's funny because if you look at the design, he's running this way, she's turned that way. See what I mean? Do you see how he's running away from her and she's turned in freedom? Like she's released, she's free to be her. So I don't see this as a bad thing if there is like some potential, like we find out somebody's telling us untruths, or maybe a boyfriend's departing or whatever. I also see that freedom here in this Nine of Cups, right? Which is this emotional freedom. So when I see this as an outside influence and this is a person or like sort of negative influence on the other side, it says to me, once we figure out what this is, it frees us from having any obligation to it anymore, because it's not worth our time, our attention anymore. This attention here is sort of on the self. We see that not only in the reflection of the Hermit, but also in the Ace of Wands. This is about, what does Amanda Jo want? Right? And we're not doing what like this Yahoo wants. We're doing like, how does it make Amanda Jo feel, right? That's kind of my feeling of these cards. And I love how this face is sitting at the top. It almost feels like a body. Like when I'm looking at my hand moving around it, I see this face up here with the third eye on fire, and I just love it. All right, so now this next card is the potential outcomes card. This card tells me a bit about sort of where things are heading, barring that nothing major changes. So this is the future card and how things will turn out for you, but it's not set in stone. So if it's a negative card, we don't have to worry. It's not about fear. It's about knowing that this is a warning and we can make choices and changes in our life to affect this outcome. But if we like this card as the outcome, we can know that we're naturally heading towards it. So let's see what that is. For you, I love it. This is the Moon. Okay, so this is Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio energy, right? Or actually, no, I'm sorry. The Moon is Cancer, Pisces energy, not Scorpio. But the Moon, what I love about this is we have the Sun and the Moon here. There's like this weird balance happening in your center. What I love is that the Moon represents some confusion. It can represent being torn, emotional, overly emotional, dealing with some emotions around some things. This could be some of whatever this situation is, if this is causing you emotional strife, struggle, whatever. But ultimately, the Moon empowers us, right? The Moon gives us a better sense of who we are. The Moon gives us a spiritual awareness of who we are, a more subconscious awareness, an ability to trust ourselves at a deeper level. And with this Sun involved in all of this and the Hermit, it's like the Moon is also kind of similar to the Hermit in the sense that it's like the Hermit is about spiritual soul searching, right? The Moon is about getting lost maybe in the dark or the confusion of our emotions. But ultimately, with this Nine of Cups out here as the outside influence, I feel as though you might feel like the light of the sun gets dim heading towards the future. It might get murky and emotional, especially if you interact with whatever this situation is and give it more of your attention. But ultimately, the moon is there to serve you. It will grow you. It is major arcana. This is a pivotal time for you to learn. And I think this is going to be the card or the outcome that also helps you to attain this Nine of Cups energy, which is this emotional freedom, security, understanding of who you are and what you are, how you feel, and what you're willing to put up with. But you might have to go through some like emotional ups and downs or whatever. But ultimately, I do like the balance of the sun and the moon. It's, to me, it's like the self, the spiritual self, or the light and the dark, the shadow, the moon being the shadow, the sun being the light being, or that aspect of self. So it's about discovering and enjoying, appreciating both sides of ourselves in that way, honoring both of those two halves of who we are, and understanding the power and the magnitude that those aspects of ourselves have, the awareness of that. And the reason why I say that specific to this very reading is because of the Hermit being down here in the bottom and that Ace of Wands in the top. There's some spiritual awareness, learning, like growth that's happening for you in this process, or in this chapter, in this reading right now, that you're going to be going through over the next, I don't know how long, but that embrace all aspects of who you are, Amanda. That's like kind of the key with this. And if things try and throw you off emotionally, roll with it, dive into it. That's the moon. Like when we resist that confusion, that's when the moon becomes a problem, right? When we resist that emotionality of the moon and we fight against it, that's when we get confused and it gets murky and things get funky and people don't like the moon card. To me, I'm not afraid of my emotions. Like if I get really down and sad, I understand. I usually try and explore, okay, why am I here? Why do I feel this way? Oh, that makes sense, and then I can embrace that. And only then, once I've accepted it as it is, then can I change it, right? I'm not saying you're headed for bad things. I actually think you're headed for something really powerful and beautiful going on here with this moon-sun exchange and this Ace of Wands with the Hermit as the foundation. There's a learning that's happening here. There's a spiritual deepening and awareness that's happening. And also, like I said, this emotional freedom that's being given to you. But you're going to have to do it through facing adverse people or situations that maybe aren't being honest with you. But that's okay. We don't need them to be honest. We just need them to fucking go. Excuse my language. And it's all new awareness for you that's going to strengthen you and put you into ideally new spiritual desires and directions that will be, I hope, profound. I believe that they will be profound. We have, like, I'm just going to say this. Out of all of the cards, there's what is it, 4 or 5 out of 6 cards, 3 are majors and an ace. So this is a pivotal moment for you, whatever you're dealing with and whatever you're looking at. And I wouldn't even joke about this 9 of Cups. This is a really good card too. This one here is like there's something that needs to be let go of, or something that needs to depart that's not being either honest, fair, just, whatever. But that's all going to come out in the wash. And they will, the light of the sun is going to shine on them and show them for who they are. My Pisces husband is confusing. That could be some of this too. But I like that there's this balance. It's funny, we've had these weird balanced readings, like with the King and Queen of Wands tonight too, showing up as the center and the outcome. So there must be a theme amongst you all tonight. You might all be on the same sort of strange vibration or pathway, and that's why some of these readings are mirroring each other. We've also seen the 5 of Wands quite a few times tonight. I think 3 different times tonight. At least twice, I know that. Once in a charming and once in a reading. Or actually, no, 3 times. We saw it in the center, out here, and in the charming. So yeah, it's funny to me because I watch these. Sometimes the readings are very similar because you all attract to me on certain nights where you're all vibrating at the same stuff, even though it's around. It's weird. Like, does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but I've noticed that too in private readings. Like, I will get people that come to me during certain periods where the readings sort of can mimic each other, or it's especially I've noticed on the lives, people will come in and they'll be like, oh my God, this message sounds like it's just for me, even though it's not for them. But what it is it's like you've all come into the room together at the same time because you're sort of in vibrational alignment to one another. And that's why you're all here. And that's why the messages sort of make sense from person to person, or they mimic or mirror each other, because those that show up on that given night, it's like, I don't know if spirit arranges it or it's just a vibrational thing, but like when we're in sync or connected, that's how they come in. It's this strange thing. I can't quite figure it out, but I've noticed it. It's gone on for years. All right, you guys, I think that's it. Did you have any questions, Amanda, before, or did you need to see the reading and take a screenshot? Are you okay? I can show you the reading again if you need to see it before I kind of shut it off on you. I mean to do that, but that's, if you want to screenshot it, you certainly can. Again, just keep it, know that whatever you're working on right now, it's powerful stuff. Yeah, it's weird, and I think Amanda says my girlfriend and I often have similar experiences at the same time on the daily tarot. It's funny, and that's why I do the collective reading, because I feel like collectively that energy is there for all of us to harness, because when we're in tune to it. And that's also why I feel like the collectives, even though thank you, Vicky, even though they're for a certain date originally, I feel like they don't go out of that they're timeless, in the sense that if it shows up in your feed one day and it's random, I say watch it, because there could be something in there that applies to your now. I believe that, I don't know if it's spirit or the universe or whatever you want to call it, if it's even our own higher selves, our own higher like souls, leading us, our brains and our egos, to the information through roundabout ways. But I have noticed in sync, like synchronized stuff, where certain themes will show up in a night of live readings and stuff. And it's like, it has to do with the fact that we're all like vibrating at the same place at that moment. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't know. That's what my gut tells me. But thank you all for tuning in. That was wonderful. I had a really good time. Not much of a Q&A, but that's okay. Thank you to everybody who bought readings. I really, really appreciate that. I wasn't even expecting that to happen. So that was wonderful. And I'm here. I'm going to try and be on with this new work schedule. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I know, like I said, I'm all this week I'm working till 3:30 my time. So for private readings, I'll be available after 3:30 Central in the evenings. Other than that, Wednesday I'm off, but I do have some medical things that I'm attending to on Wednesday. And then next week, I don't know what that's going to look like until I get the schedule. But you guys can always message me if you're interested in a private reading. There is the daily forecast every morning over on the YouTube channel. I still will continue to do that. Hopefully that won't lapse or change. I might have to alter it and like maybe film a couple days in advance, depending on scheduling stuff, but I will stay with that. May's Taroscopes, I'm going to have to start to do those probably in the evenings. So I might start those this week, maybe take each element, like, and do 3 signs in the evening and then 3 more signs, just to knock that out, because we're already, what day is it? Shit, are we already at the 18th? Okay, yeah, I need to start that, just because I don't know what this job is going to be like and how crazy it's going to get. So keep on the lookout for those. The Taroscopes will probably be in the evenings live. I'm going to start with Taurus, because we're going into Taurus season, and it will be the earth signs. Then after Taurus, I believe, is Gemini. So it'll go earth, air, water, fire, because we led with Aries last month. So the earth signs will go up first, then air signs, then the water signs, and then the fires. And hopefully maybe I'll get that done in the evenings during this week. And then that's it. You guys know how to get a hold of me if you want. If you don't, I will put my link tree in the chat right now. That leads you to all of my socials, like my Instagram, my Amazon wish list. If you want to send a deck, you can just pick a deck off there and it will automatically mail it to me. And I will potentially use it for dailies or readings on lives. There's also how to book a private reading through my PayPal. My PayPal link is there and all that sort of stuff. Other than that, feel free to leave me a comment, a question. If you're watching this later after it's been live on either YouTube or on Facebook, please hit the thumbs up or the heart sign. Say hello. Let me know you're there. Just hit pound replay. I love all of that. And I will see you guys later. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, we're winding up. We've been on just over 2 hours. So I'm going to go check on my dog's ear. You guys wouldn't even believe this ear. It's so gross. So does anybody want to see it? It's really, really gnarly. I have her on so much drugs, like, so she doesn't scratch it, because the doctor was like, just give her more gabapentin so she's not so itchy. Do you guys want to see how gross it is? I feel like I don't know if I should put it on camera. It's pretty rancid. Let's go to look. Let me flip the camera around. Hold on. Just so you guys can see what I'm dealing with, because I am not like a nurse by any means. But let me show you. See, she's passed out on drugs. My little drug addict dog. Hey, baby girl. What's going on? Can you see that? Oh, wait. Did you see that? Oh, I know. Hold on. Let me see. Do you see that? Ouch. Oh, it's leaking. Oh, okay. I gotta go, guys. I gotta go clean it up again. I'm constantly cleaning that. It's awful. And what I don't understand is, like, the doctor sent me home with her like that. It's like, and I get that he wants it to drain, but it's bad. It's like, and she scratches at it. Now that she's high on gabapentin, she's not itching it as much, but she made it so much worse. And she tore it down, and then it's like, oh. And I asked him, I'm like, can I have a cone? Can I put a cone of shame on her? And he's like, no, because it will rub right up against that. And he's like, I want it open so that it has air and it can drain. Oh, my life. So we've been dealing with this for like the last, I would say, 2 weeks. So anyways, I got to go clean her ear. But I love you guys. Thank you to everybody who bought a reading. And I will talk to you guys later. All right. Have a wonderful evening, you guys. I know. And the thing is Lisa says it always looks worse before it heals. It is looking better, even though it's still like leaking and stuff. But and I think that the healing part also makes it itch, right? When it starts to heal, that's when it gets itchy. But it's such a big opening that it freaks me out that I'm like, can the skin just come together, please, now? But I'm going to go clean it up now. She's going to hate me for it, but at least she'll be high while I do it. All right. I will talk to you guys later, and have a good evening. Okay. Take care. Thank you all for tuning in. I love you all. And I'll be on tomorrow in the morning, probably super early, because I have to be up. We're supposed to go live at 8 o'clock Eastern, which is 7 a.m. my time, not on live here, but at my work. And then, but what I found out is I got an email today that said they want us on an hour earlier to make sure that the system doesn't crash. So that means I have to be on, I think, at 6 a.m. my time. So I might have to get up and run the daily at as early as 5 a.m. I don't know. We'll see. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.